Okay, ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to be talking about solving inequalities with multiplication and division. So the first one, 1a, says 4k is greater than 24. So what we're going to do is we're just going to divide by 4 like we would in a one-step equation, and we would get k is greater than 6. So then you just, start your number line. So let's just go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And it's an open circle because it can't be equal to 6, so open circle, and then you get your arrow for all values that are going to be greater than 6. And you can, as usual, just plug one in and just kind of say to yourself, is 7 greater than 6, 8, 9, so on and so forth, and the answer is yes, so that works out. Okay, let's do the next one over here. In the next equation, we have negative 50 is greater than or equal to 5q. So, we would just divide by 5, and you would get negative 10 is greater than or equal to q. Now, this is going to get a little confusing in a second because on future examples, I'm going to tell you if you're multiplying or dividing by a negative, you switch the sign. But in this case, you're still dividing by a positive. So this still stays true to our old rules of just solving like a one-step equation and moving on. So to graph, it's going to be a closed circle because it can be equal to negative 10. And I am just going to put that here, and I'll set up my number line. So we've got negative 10, negative 9, negative 8, negative 7, negative 6, negative 5, so on and so forth. So negative 10 is going to be greater than or equal to q, so that means q has to be less than that value, so we're going to go in this direction over here, and then you ask yourself, okay, we'll just plug something in. Is negative 12 less than or equal to negative 10? The answer is yes, so we move on. Okay, 1c, multiply by the reciprocal because this is a fraction problem, so we did that in one-step equation, so we're going to do 4/3 times 3/4 to isolate g. And then what we do to one side, we do to the other, so 27 times 4/3. These cross out on this side. And then over here, you can actually reduce because 27 is really over 1, so 3 goes in 3 once, 3 goes into 27 9 times. So therefore, we have q is greater than, g is g. G is greater than 36. So it is a open circle because it can't be equal to that. So we're going to move on. Put that over here somewhere. We're going to call that 36, 38, 40, 36, 34. I'm skipping one because it's still consistent with one line every time you move to the right or the left for every numerator. But, oh, actually, no, I'm not. Look at that. Not consistent. I have to go 36, this is 34, and this is 32. Okay. But q is greater than, or g is greater than 36, so we're going to be going in this direction over here. Okay? Okay. Next one. Solve each inequality and graph the solution. So this one's different because in these ones we are dividing by negative numbers to isolate our variable. So let's say over here, we actually have 10 is greater than or equal to negative x. Now remember, when you don't see a coefficient, it's a negative 1. So we're going to divide by negative 1, divide by negative 1, and like I mentioned on the previous slide, we're going to switch the sign. So it's negative 10 is less than or equal to x. That's how you solve that. So now we're going to say we need a closed circle. We're going to make our graph, and x has to be and then let's do negative 8, negative 6. So x has to be greater, which means we are moving to the right And is -6 bigger than -10? Yes, and so we move on. Okay, let's over here. We're going to divide by -2.5 to isolate h. H is going to be, what do we do with the sign? We switch it, and then we do 4.25 divided by 0.25. 25 goes into 42 once. 1 times 25 is 25. We're going to subtract that, and we are going to get, let's see, 175. That goes in 7 times, so we've got, and remember this was a negative, so it's -17 is less than h. And we're going to go and graph that on our number line again. So -17 is less than h, -17, 18, 19, -20, and then 17, 16, 15, 14. Satisfied, make sure it's right. -17 is -14 greater, so yes, it's all values to the right of that one. Okay. Last one we're doing is we are going to be doing a consumer application here. So this is just going to be word problems, which I know you all love very much. So this says a pitcher holds 128 ounces of juice. What are all the possible numbers of 8-ounce servings that one pitcher can fill? So what you want to say here is that you have 128 ounces, okay, and that's the maximum amount that it'll hold. So what are all the possible numbers? How many numbers of 10-ounce servings? So that's repetitive addition or multiplication. So 10 times the amount of juice that it can hold. Okay, we'll just stick a variable here. So 10J, right? Or ounces, whatever you want. Actually, that looks weird. So I'm going to use a different variable. I'm just going to use 10G is going to be less than or equal to 128, because 128 is the maximum. 128 has to be bigger than that amount. So therefore, you can solve for G, or solve for G, and you've got G is less than or equal to 12.8. So that means that you can hold anything that is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, or 12 ounces of juice for the amount of servings you can have. That's what you're looking for is servings, and you can't have 8/10 of a serving. People wouldn't have enough, so it's going to be whole number servings for this problem. Okay, so the problems for this section are going to be pages, if I can get a pen, pages 115 to 117, 18 to 54 EOE, 56 to 61, 62 to 68 even. Okay, happy inequality solving.